Hello everyone, my name's James and welcome to South Africa Wine Club Send by the Wine Club by Majestic. Personally, I'm really excited about this send. I think this case is absolutely fantastic. But before we dive into all the details, I want to just introduce my colleagues here. I've got three lovely colleagues here in the Wine Club. I'll get you guys to introduce yourselves, please.
I'm Christine, I'm buyer at Majestic, and I work with Beth on selecting these wonderful wines for you.
Hi, I'm Beth. I'm Master of Wine, and yes, I work alongside Christine in the buying team.
And I'm Mark, and I'm the Director of Wine Club, and I have the great pleasure of working with all of these people.
So guys, can I ask you, why did we choose South Africa as a country, as a theme for this particular send? What was the impetus?
I think South Africa is one of the most exciting countries in the world at the moment. There's actually quite a long history of grape growing in South Africa, dating back to the mid-1700s. Quality that is coming out of there at the moment, and I might be a bit biased because I'm also the South Africa buyer for Majestic, I think is unparalleled. So quality for the price that you pay, absolutely top notch. South Africa has had its issues, and there's, I think, often the impression that it's quite a cheap country for wine, but they've done a lot of work, especially, even in over the last 3 years during COVID. They had a lot of issues. They weren't allowed to export wines for a period, but they've been working very hard internally within the country to ensure that all the wineries are supporting their staff. There's a big focus on sustainability in South Africa. They've done a lot of research into, indigenous fauna, where they're removing more international plants that are planted, and like putting in something called fynbos, which is kind of a local kind of bush herbal kind of plant. And apparently it's got really high levels of carbon capture. There's masses of innovations when you go there. So, as I say, they're focusing a lot on the social aspects. So they're bringing through a lot of kind of black winemakers now. There's a big focus on really helping women in the industry over there as well, investing in quality in the winery.
What was really exciting to see is that so many wineries that we have selected to work with on this theme have programs that support the education for the children of the workers that are on the wine farms, and sponsorship programs for university and colleges. There's a real big focus on training up the next generation of wine growers.
Yeah, and I remember when you two were running through the shortlist and you had so many wines to go through. It's a good problem to have, but you'd call us down and say, come into the tasting room here, taste these. And I was just amazed, weren't we both, at the quality, the range, and it was just so interesting. And I think your job is very difficult to actually choose from such an amazing range of fantastic wines to have to whittle it down into that curated mix.
These are great problems to have. And for our customers, this is a particularly high quality blend of wines. That's bottom line. You're going to love the quality of these wines like we do. Yeah.
What we're really excited to show here is that South Africa is so much more than your sometimes watery Chenin Blanc and rubbery Pinotage that we're most often used to seeing from South Africa, and it's really moved on from there, and we've got a vast variety of varietals and wine styles to show you that we thought were absolutely amazing.
So considering such a diversity of wine styles and regions, how did you approach the selection process? I mean, that must have been quite tough.
Well, we have a long history as Majestic, and expertise and partnerships with wineries and growers in South Africa, but also experts around the world that can recommend us new up-and-coming areas and regions. And certainly that was our first initial
Again, you've got the benefit
sourcing
of the 40 years of heritage.
Exactly.
And all those relationships that Majestic has built up over the years.
These are just crucial. Without that, it would be impossible.
Do you think it's fair to say that we literally get wines that other people can't get hold of because of that experience?
Well, that's got to be true, hasn't it?
Is it?
Well, I think, the relationships we build really do mean that we have access to really interesting products, really going out, finding new wines that you might not know about, you know, on the ground here in the UK. But I think the selection was really interesting. You know, there's been a lot of work in South Africa on different kind of expanding wine regions past. You know, Stellenbosch has been known for a long time for producing really great quality wines, you know, especially from kind of Bordeaux varieties. But there are lots of other really interesting kind of regions. So we've got an Elgin feature in a couple of cases. So Elgin, really lovely, cool coastal area. And I think that's what makes South Africa so interesting. You know, it's a really warm climate, but it is right by the coast, which adds a really lovely, cool freshness to a lot of the wine.
And then on the contrary to that, you've got Swartland that's really in our experience now over the last couple of months, the up-and-coming region where there has been so much investment in restoring and renovating these old ancient bush vines that are there. The dry farming has really made a lot of difference in wine quality there, and wineries that have invested in great winemaking facilities to take the best out of these grapes that they get from there. And
sustainability was something that was coming through a lot when I was reading the backgrounds of a lot of these wines.
Yeah, 100%.
It's really interesting though, you're talking about all the investment that's going on currently, and you're right, all of this is a live topic and it's recent stuff. But historically, South Africa is really interesting because it's classed as New World, but it's been around for a long time in terms of wine production, hasn't it? Am I right?
Well, yes, it's been around since mid-1600s.
Which is old for, you know, New World countries.
Yeah, no, it definitely is old, and so there is a lot of knowledge there. And they've gone through, you know, different periods, and they've had their issues, but I think it's in a very strong place at the moment.
And it's improved massively over the last 20 years or so.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, obviously we're excited about the wines, and we're going to present today our favourites from each of the cases, which is going to be really exciting. But of course,
touch on some food as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, Wine Club's more than just the wine. We've also got the food. We've got the online extra details. Mark, remind us, what are the benefits?
Yeah, so it's not just any wine club. We really went into this not wanting to be just another wine club. We wanted to leverage, as I said, the 40 years of heritage that we have, those relationships with the winemakers, real authenticity, and wines that deserve their place in the case. I've said that before, but it still holds very true. Beth and Christine they spent so long choosing the shortlist for this collection of cases, and you know, you've come up with some real stunners, so congratulations there. But it's also about the stories behind the wines. It's wine in context, in the context of where it comes from, a bit of history, who made it, why they made it, in the style they did.
We really want to bring it to life to the customer as well, and which is where we want to take you on a journey with us to discover these wonderful wines that we see out there with us, with our seasonal cases curated in select themes like we have now, the South Africa theme.
And you can connect with the winemakers as well through the brochures. There are QR codes which will then link you onto our customer content hub, where you'll have the videos made by the producers themselves. You'll have access to these videos as well, which you've done for this case and also past cases as well. There's the Facebook group as well. We think it's important that we have
it's really grown into quite a vibrant community, the Facebook group.
Yeah, so, you know, please keep it dynamic, keep it live, keep it real. Let us know what you think, hints and tips, and tell us how you got on with the recipes. You know, we've tried a few ourselves already with mixed successes, but I think it's fair to say that they're all reasonably straightforward. James, you have a chefing background, so I know that they're
a long time ago, but
easier for you to do than they are for me.
Quick shout out to Georgia East. Those are fantastic recipes. We're thrilled by them, and well, they're just delicious. Good. Should we move on to the wines, guys? Should we actually taste something?
Sounds good.
Let's do it. Right, time for the good stuff now. Sorry, it's a bad joke because my first wine is the good stuff. Guys, right, what we're going to do today is we're now going to taste the Discovery Case. Can you just remind everyone what the Discovery Case is all about?
It's. I think the clue is in the name. It is discovering what we think are some really excellent examples of wines from the region, wines that we know you're going to love, and also wines we've paired with the food as well in the booklet. I think that covers it.
Yeah. So the format is we've each chosen 2 wines, a white and a red, and we love all the wines in the cases, but we're going to put a little case together about why we think these are the standout wines. Okay, that's the theory. So I'm going to kick things off with the good stuff. Okay, so I'm going to just go for it and start pouring. The good stuff is a white blend. Here we go. Pass that along. It's a white blend. It's dominated by Colombard and it's blended with Chenin Blanc and Sauvignon. Look, in a nutshell, this is a fresh, zesty, refreshing white that absolutely adores anything along the lines of seafood. Guys, what do you think?
We really love this. And
So
I mean,
appealing.
Elgin Valley is just so gorgeous, right by the coast.
Yeah, so, and I think you
Real
definitely,
altitude.
yeah, you definitely get that kind of crisp, kind of citrus note that you can tell it's from somewhere really fresh, even just on the nose before getting to the
Freshness
palate.
is definitely there.
Yeah, I think it's lovely. It's
And I own
feels
a
quite
real,
vibrant, doesn't it? Yeah.
I own a real star producer in South Africa. Georgia has wonderfully paired this with her tomato salad and anchovies and burrata.
That's got a lot of freshness, but it's also got quite soft mouthfeel to it.
Yeah.
I think.
It's the warmth of the summer.
So when you talk about mouthfeel, what are you talking about? You're talking about literally how it feels in the mouth, I guess. But
Yeah,
what
it's
causes
beyond
that?
the taste, isn't it? It's that sort of three-dimensional experience of the wine sitting in your mouth. And that
Like a
comes from-
juicy ripe peach.
Yeah. So, okay, it doesn't apply with this because it's white, but you know, tannin and acidity can contribute to the mouthfeel.
Great wine. Okay.
Next.
Good. What have you got?
I've got the absolute classic South African Chenin Blanc.
So, I mean, that's fair to say, when people think about South Africa, they often think about Chenin Blanc.
Well, funnily enough, Chenin Blanc is really the specialty from Loire Valley in France, but it's made its there you go. It's made its fame in South Africa, and here at Paardeberg Cellars, right at the foothills of the Paardeberg Mountains, it thrives.
I have to say that and French wine lovers might disagree, but I prefer the styles that come out of South Africa. More fruit, you've got lots of freshness there, lots of concentration as
Really
well.
some tropical fruits like melon and ripe peaches, and we'd all agree it's a lovely pair to the good stuff. Next.
So next, well, my favourite was something that was, you know, slightly different from maybe what you'd expect from South Africa, but it's a Grenache Blanc from Louvenkill. Louvenkill have done a lot of work with kind of older vines, and Grenache Blanc is a great variety that you kind of more associate with another French region, the Rhone. But South Africa's had a lot of really good, they've done a really good job of taking some of those Rhone grape varieties and planting them in South Africa and kind of making them their own. So, sorry, we need to get this poured and tasted because it is delicious. I just do me and Mark.
Thank you.
Thanks.
But
Great. Thank you. No, it's
Grenache Blanc's maybe a bit more subtle on the nose, but there's a really kind of nice concentrated stone fruit, especially that comes through on the palate as well. Lots of really big peachy flavours.
It's delicious. I think it's fair to say this is a really food-friendly wine as well.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've just been talking about mouthfeel, but I think you've got that richness and concentration on the palate. It's warm, slightly spicy, and as you say, it does make it really perfect to go with a variety of food dishes.
Brilliant.
But there's a really lovely acidity on the finish as well. I've still got that crispness there. Sometimes with those rich wines, they can feel a bit heavy in the mouth, but you've got that richness, but then also a freshness on the finish.
But again, that acidity will work really well with any fats in your mouth, cut through, freshen up. Yeah.
I know we often
Delicious.
talk about minerality and nobody can really define what it means, but I feel on this one especially, it's like the saltiness that keeps on giving. It might well be the acidity as well.
Yeah.
Like your mouth is just salivating. I'm hungry now.
You're right. It's kind of a salty acidity kind of thing.
Okay, well, my pick is the MAN Chardonnay, or MAN rather. The name is a bit odd. It's actually 3 young winemakers. I think so the story goes, they knew that in establishing their vineyard, they would be spending a lot of time away from home, and so they named the vineyard after their wives, so Marie, Annette, and Nikki. So, fun fact there. But anyway, let's get stuck into this.
So yeah, really excited about this one. Really lovely style of Chardonnay, very elegant.
It's really nice to see over the last couple of cases that we've curated for you. There's always been a Chardonnay, but in such different styles and varietals. And here the Chardonnay from MAN is another one.
So, yeah, melon, apricot, citrus. Is there a touch of oak here as well?
There's a touch of oak, but I think it's nicely supporting the fruit. It's not
it's
kind
well
of dominated.
integrated,
It's really well integrated.
Almost burgundy style.
Lovely.
I think this is definitely one of those wines where, talking about the value of South Africa, there is so much concentration there. The use of oak is really nicely integrated, very elegant, and I think it's a complete bargain
I love that one.
for this case.
I love them all, but I particularly love that.
I feel this wine would stand up against slightly fuller dishes as well. I mean, this can hack creamy dishes or richer roasts.
Pretty versatile.
Yeah. Yeah, delicious.
Yeah.
So, as good as your wines were, mine's clearly the best. But otherwise, yeah, really good selection, guys.
I think they're all winners, aren't they? Everyone gets a
Well,
prize.
not to forget, we've got 2 more wines in the case: the Zevenwacht Estate Sauvignon Blanc and Dany de Vet Chardonnay, which are equally delicious. But
The Dany de Vet Chardonnay was complete kind of contrast to this one, wasn't
absolutely,
it?
yeah.
It's much more elegant mineral style, whereas this is
Very
kind of
much
a
Chablis-esque, isn't it?
Very
More than
exactly, and this is kind of that more warm, kind of slightly richer, slightly oak style. So some really nice contrasting style there.
And then Zevenwacht have done incredibly well at doing a really, really fresh and vibrant Sauvignon Blanc.
And we've got some recipes. Is it worth talking about those for the whites?
Yeah, for
There's
sure.
one that stood out for me. Mussels, parsnip and parmesan. I think even I could have a good go at making that one, but it looks delicious.
What I really liked is the bride. How do you pronounce that? Bride?
Yeah, bride.
Bride. Lamb chops with anchovy, parsley, and a caper marinade. Because you think of as grilled lamb as being this really, really full, fat, heavy dish. But the anchovy, parsley, caper marinade really adds a lot of acidity and a wonderful freshness to it, which would make me nearly pair it with a white wine, such as. But that would be the more uncontroversial choice.
I mean, anchovy and lamb is a classic pairing. It works so well together.
I've never done that before. Have you?
Absolutely, try it. It's fantastic.
Well, we've got anchovies, tomatoes, and burrata as well. Look at that. That is just
Anchovies for the win.
amazing.
So, I mean, yeah, South Africa and their the coastline is such a big influence on the food scene in South Africa as well, which Georgia specialises in. To be honest, she's fantastic at that. Yeah.
She's based in Cape Town.
She splits her time between Cape Town and the West Coast. Yeah. Okay.
Time for the reds?
Let's go. Let's try the reds. Okay, I'm going to crack on and I'm going to move through this at a pace. This is the Romans Bay Syrah. Okay, Syrah, Shiraz. You think of Rome, you think of Australia, but South Africa is another great destination for Syrahs. Oh, there we go.
And here we were really spoiled for choice. I mean, Syrah in South Africa, Shiraz, especially Swartland actually had some fantastic.
So you got loads of black currant, you got loads of sort of sour cherry notes coming through, black pepper, sweet spice. I mean, it's kind of all there. It's all a big hodgepodge is the wrong word, but it's all blended together in quite quite a lot of intensity to
It
it.
really reminded me of Northern Rome style
Yeah.
Syrah.
Oh, that I have to say that is delicious. It's very difficult to spit that one out. It is the afternoon.
I mean that sort of that cherry acidity you'd even get in Northern Italian wines sometimes, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Lovely. I want to show you the Sanso from Spear, Fila and Frate, which was a complete revelation to me. I know we always talk for the sort of lighter styles of reds that you could potentially even serve slightly chilled for light summer evenings, or that lamb with the bride seasoning. But for Christmas, or running up into Christmas now soon, we always have duck, lamb, dishes where you'd normally serve Pinot Noir for. But here I think this Sanso really, really...
So what you're suggesting is the
surprised me.
acidity is the same level as like a Pinot Noir, so you can match it with those
That's right, and
fattier
it's
meats.
just a bit of lighter side of wine.
Okay.
It's really floral on the nose,
Lovely.
reminiscent of.
It's a red people might not have come across. Where's the classic homeland of Cinsault?
I would associate Sanso with the south of France. So again, a variety that you can grow in the Rhone. So Rhone variety is really big in South Africa,
Yeah.
but you do get wines from the south of France as well.
Yep.
Often used in kind of, the kind of rosé styles because of the crisp acidity, lots of fruit. But yeah, it makes really lovely reds. And I think something just a little bit different to Pinot Noir, which is kind of the other kind of light red that you'd think about.
So this showcases South Africa's ability to do that fresh coastal stuff, but also, generate a bit more heat in the vineyard to produce a bit more ripeness and ripen a grape that, loves a Mediterranean style climate.
Yeah. So we go from that to something completely different.
All right.
I have to jump in. It's a trivial point, but I love the label as well. I really do.
It is a beautiful label. And it's actually a winery I'm going to visit next month, so I'm quite
so
excited
lucky.
about.
Thank you. So what's this one then?
So Thelema is a winery that was started in the 80s by an accountant that was bored of their job and wanted to change. I think there's a lot of people that would probably like to get out of finance and taste wine all day instead. I mean, I've got a degree in maths and I ended up in the wine industry, so I can completely understand. So based around Stellenbosch, so a really classic area in South Africa for producing really high quality wines. But this is a kind of blend of Shiraz, Petit Verdot and Grenache. So we had a straight Shiraz before, but then this one you've got the influence from the Grenache, which kind of gives really nice red fruit. And Petit Verdot, which is often a kind of supporting character in red blends, but more usually red and Bordeaux blends. So it's often used a couple of % in most Bordeaux's. And that just adds kind of...
Seasoning grape almost.
Exactly, a perfect seasoning grape. Adds a really nice perfume and also kind of a background structure.
Okay, so MAN again. This one is the Pinotage, and Pinotage, obviously a signature grape of South Africa. The name derives from, well, it's a blend of Pinot Noir and Sanso. We were talking about Sanso before.
Crossing rather than a blend of the two grapes.
Yes, crossing, yes. So Sanso used to be called Hermitage, so that's why we have Pinotage. Yes, not a blend. Right, well anyway, let's discuss it stuck in.
So I think Pinotage has often had quite a bad reputation for producing kind of quite basic rubbery wines, but I think it's the same as most grape varieties. You can get a bad example of most grape varieties if they're made by the right people. But there's a lot more focus and understanding of what this variety does now. And what you definitely get with Pinotage is really lovely concentrated red fruits. There's also a really nice elegance often on the palate where you have a cross between kind of crunchy tannins but really fresh acidity, kind of almost halfway between like a Pinot Noir and a Nebbiolo.
It's almost a greenness to it, isn't it? Lovely. And the greenness isn't a negative. It's just
A herbal character.
herbal.
Yeah,
That's
it's
perhaps a better way of explaining it.
Really well balanced.
Lovely.
But you do, I mean, a lot of times when you have the tannins, they're quite present, but there's a really nice fresh acidity on the finish, which just keeps the whole wine quite...
Yeah. I know what you mean. It's the opposite from jammy, isn't
Yes.
it? It's got that sort of savoury note that you're talking about. Yeah, lovely.
Which,
really good.
And I think that combination of fruit and tannin and acidity makes it a really great food pairing wine.
Good. Fantastic.
We keep coming back to that lamb dish, but...
In this case, you also have the good stuff red from Iona, the pear to the white that James expertly chose, and the Venologist Merlot from Buchenwaldskluif in the Franschhoek Mountains. And this really, I think, shows how versatile South Africa is as a wine growing regions. You've got the coastal areas, you've got mountainous areas, you've got the desert land, really, that is Swartland.
Yeah, and mountains, everything.
It's gorgeous.
It's a small area with all the different kind of climates and topography that you could imagine.
Well, we tasted our favourites. It'd be really good if you could jump on the Facebook group and share your favourites. We hope you enjoy this case as much as we have. Thank you.